quick demo of how On Green can help a league team or league team captain organise themselves for the upcoming league season. If you click on Teams, you can find a list of all the teams that you are a part of or you are the captain of. So if I go to the current season and import a new team, this is essentially the beginning of the process to pull a league team and its fixtures across from Bowler. So if I log into here and I scroll up to the top, this one is for the Open Triples Monday Sets League. So if I was to copy that link, paste it in here, select the right season and hit check in Bowler, what that will go and do is it will go and discover what league that league represents and scrape out all of the teams that are existing. Yep, so it's the Monday League. It's found the correct one with 14 teams. I then select the team that is mine. So if I just say, for argument's sake, I am Ian Veach. Click Import Team, and that adds the team to my On Green teams listing. It takes a few seconds, but after which you should be greeted with a success message that essentially allows you then to go and view your team. When you arrive, you'll land on a page like this. Remove that warning for now. Since no games have yet been played for this upcoming season, there is no results as of right now. What you can see is a few tabs. You've got your dashboard, which shows you some upcoming fixtures. Maybe you can see the form of the team that you're about to play, who is currently selected for that fixture, and who is available. However, we've not yet added any people. So the first step would be to add your squad. So if you go to Manage Team, you can quite quickly and easily add new players. So if I add a few names to here, you select the player, the positions each player can play within. Click Add, adds them to the list. You can select another player, maybe just some made up names and things in here now. The positions that they can play in too. And I'll keep going until we've got 5. And one more. So now we've got the resemblance of a squad. The next thing to do would be to either collect everybody's availability or manually collate it on here. So for me, if I've marked myself as captain for this team at the moment, I can go through quickly and select the fixtures of which I won't be available for. For example here, and then we can kind of ones that I'm not sure about. You can also do the same by using this request availability feature. And what this basically does is you select all the fixtures you want to collect people's availability for and all the players you're interested in. So say everyone except me for the minute. And then you create some availability to collecting links. Now, if you have the person's email, it sends them an email to this and they can just do it straight from their email. If not, if we go for this one here, what we can do is open it up in a new tab. And this essentially gives you a view like this, which means this is what the individual will receive, and they can go through and tell you what their availability is really simply for every fixture. So no, yes, maybe, and so on. So I've clicked a few here that maybe won't be suitable, and then I can click Save. What that then does is if I go back to my team and I refresh this page, you'll see that the availability is updated. Now, if we assume that everybody else has availability and we go back to the main page, we now need to assign a player to each of these fixtures. You can see the players that have marked their availability as available show up as green. The ones that have said no show up as red, and everyone else shows up as maybe for the time being. Now, if we click Assign Lineups, you'll be able to come to the point here where you can quickly and easily apply a player to every single fixture. So you choose who your lead is. The players who have marked as unavailable are not available for you to select. However, for ease of operation here, you can quite quickly use the auto assign feature. It suggests that there are 27 fixtures, 81 particular placements needed, and there are 7 people that are unavailable for given fixtures. So you can run an auto assignment. It creates a little process, it runs through and fairly assigns and distributes people based upon the positions that they can play versus the availability that we've got. So we can see, for example, Mike Ball often ends up being the skip for a lot of fixtures. And that's because when we add him as a team member, he is one of the few that could play as a skip. So as an example is that all the teams are now set up with a complete lineup. So if we were to view the selection totals, we can kind of see they are roughly fairly distributed. Paul having primarily lead positions, a couple of skips. There are things like Joe, who said he couldn't skip, is now being distributed evenly too, and so on and so forth. And everyone's roughly got a fair number of games based upon their availability. So that, which would have taken people quite a long time to work out and figure out, has now been done in a very quick, self-service manner. So if we jump back to this listing, now you can suddenly see, on the dashboard at least, you can kind of see who's assigned to each fixture, and you can kind of click on each one. You can see that all the lineup has been set for everybody. We know who's playing, nice and simple. What we can also then do is go to the fixtures page, and we can have a look for fixtures that you are personally assigned to. If I do that, I can see this only shows the ones that my name currently appears within. If I don't select that, I can then see a list of all the fixtures and who's applied to each one and the position that we've assigned them to, obviously with a degree of flexibility there. Now, if you click on these three dots, you can kind of see a few different things here. You can go and view that fixture in Bowler for the results. You can add a note to the opponent team. If we're taking this super seriously, you can use that to write kind of tactics or considerations for that team. Or if the result hasn't automatically been pulled from Bowler, by clicking the Refresh Bowler button, you can enter a result manually. However, the thing that I find quite useful here is the Add to Calendar button. This generates a calendar link. If I click that, what it will do is it will generate a link, it will download here. If I was to click this, especially on a mobile device, it will automatically add it to my device's calendar and remind me when the fixture is, where I'm playing, who I'm playing with, which is super helpful. There's also an export PDF feature. So now we've done all the assignment, I can click that and it downloads a PDF. If I open said PDF, it shows me every single fixture, which rink and who is playing in each individual one, which again is a quick export that we can print out and hand off to people or email around or send on a WhatsApp group. And that, in a nutshell, is what this allows us to do. Now, as results come in, we'll start collecting some interesting information about the people that were playing as well as the team's performance. So if I was to jump back to a previous team that I've loaded in, let's say for this one here, you'll be able to start seeing some form and win-loss ratios and where they sit within the league based upon their performance. So having a look at the results, I can now track the results quite very quickly and easily in here, so I can kind of see what the results and scores were. But also what I can do is start looking at the form of individuals within the squad. So I change this to recent form. Obviously, for this particular example, I've not assigned any people to the given fixtures, as this was just an example. But I would be able to start understanding how individuals are performed week on week. And if, you're taking it super seriously, you can see where your high performers and your low performers are. What you can also do is you can see your opponent's form though. So this is quite handy. So when you come to an upcoming fixture, you can then see how's that team currently faring in the league. Are they on a bit of a roll? Are they on a losing streak? How do they roughly look? So you can kind of see based on, if you've lost one to this team here. However, they're quite inconsistent performers, and you can kind of make your own judgments from that. The only other thing to point out is this review lineup needs attention warning. This will pop up for you and notify you if you do not have a team set up for any of these players. Now, what I'd probably suggest, if we jump back to this particular one that we just added here, sorry, not this one, for Ian Veach, you can kind of come and see that if for any reason one of these players change their availability, which they can do themselves, but if I go back to the manage team and availability and say, actually, Joe was available for the 21st September, now he is not, he can update that in the system. What that'll then do is trigger within here, when I refresh the page, hold on, we've got a bit of a problem. The lineup's not complete. We're missing a player for the 21st, Monday the 21st. You need to add one more player. Now, you can either do that here by clicking Pick Lineup, and this will enable you to select who will be your new lead. Now, unfortunately, in this case, we're kind of all out of options. We don't have enough people in there, which then gives us the ability to start looking at substitutions if required. Which we can see actually, to be fair, I am available on that day apparently. I can select myself, save that. Team's all set. Everything's great. And what that can also do is then trigger notifications and email messages out to the team so they're all aware who's playing in their place. Hope that was interesting or useful. I'd be really keen to get some feedback on if people would find this useful for organising league teams. There's other features too which I can kind of go through in different videos.